So yeah, this obviously is news that came out a lot earlier this morning. I'm late to this news because, well, I am fairly sick right now, um, and on top of that, like I'm not feeling great, and sleep has been really iffy, um, and yeah, you got a. It was a game that ended at 6:30 in the morning. I got to sleep at like 8 a.m. But yeah, it is. This is one of those things where it's very, very clear when it comes down to it that like Caitlin Clark did not want the minutes restriction that she had. Like Chloe Peterson was like, she posted something that was about, Caitlin understands that the minutes restriction is needed, and based on the way she was talking, yeah, she kind of thought there was going to be a minutes restriction. I think she probably expected minutes restriction to be similar to last year's minutes restriction or this year early's minutes restriction, which is like minutes starting with a 2 but close to going to a 3, as in like 25, 26 minutes. And I don't see there being a situation where she would have been not capable of doing that. But that being said, let's take a look at this. Clark did not look her usual self on Wednesday, playing in 2 to 3 minute spurts in condition of her minutes restriction. Something she said when asked about the setup was not my decision, that was somebody else's decision. Like, I'm going to be real. And this is when people are like, oh, Caitlin's okay with there being a minutes restriction. She's okay with that. No one is okay with, nobody is okay with playing those minutes. There's not one basketball player that is a starter, and a rhythm player like Caitlin Clark. You've got dumbasses out there saying, oh, if Caitlin Clark is a rhythm player, then she's not the player you think she is. No, some players need rhythm. There are players that need volume touches. There are players that are able to be efficient on no rhythm. There are players that need volume to be effective, and their efficiency increases with volume. There are players that their efficiency decreases with volume. There are players that are efficient on low volume. There are players that are inefficient on high volume but can impact the game in certain ways that they can be a net positive on a team. Like, every player has their different strengths and weaknesses. Like, every player has different strengths and weaknesses. We gotta be real here. They all have different strengths and weaknesses. But yeah, it's just really hard playing 3 minutes, so about 3 minutes, then you're on the bench. She said it's really, really hard to get the flow. For the most part, I got good luck. Some of them went in, some of them didn't. I probably didn't get enough have a feel for the game like I usually do. Like, it's just really, really hard for me to play in that scenario. But overall, my body feels great, and it's a positive I can take from today. I gotta be honest. Like, there is no way that Caitlin Clark was happy coming out of this game with our coaches, with the athletic staff, the training staff, because we can be very real here. Like, Caitlin during the game was sitting down in the third quarter. She got subbed off. Like, they sent Ty Harris to come on for Caitlin Clark. I think it was Ty Harris, not Raven. But they subbed on Ty Harris, and basically they had her at the scorer's table a minute and 45 seconds into the third quarter. A minute and 45 seconds into the third quarter. They were getting ready to sub off Caitlin Clark. And then she did turn the ball over immediately after that. But, like, they had decided a minute and 45 seconds in, she was being pulled. Look, the Indiana Fever had absolutely no not even no plan. Like, Stephanie White did not want Caitlin Clark on the floor yesterday. She wanted Caitlin Clark on as little as possible, and that she could take, she's a starter and stuff, she could take her off. Like, she played her fucking Kirsten Bell minutes. She played her borderline in the Kirsten Bell role of, okay, yeah, you're starting, but we're going to sub you off as quick as humanly possible, and then you're gone down to the end of the bench. Like, it is what it is. Last night showed as much as anything that Steph White does not want her. And that's not, and by the way, this is not me saying Stephanie White's a terrible coach or anything. I think the Fever are going to win tonight without her. Like, I think the Fever are going to win tonight without Caitlin Clark playing. And people are going to be like, oh, yeah, you know, what does that mean? Does that mean that Caitlin Clark's bad? No, it doesn't. It's just a bad fit situation. Like, we gotta be able to talk real ball and talk purely about fit. But like, it's clear that this was not the plan, because Caitlin Clark, again, in the third quarter, sat down on the bench. Like, if you saw Caitlin Clark in the first and third quarters, she sat down on the bench initially, and then she was sitting on the bench for 3-4 minutes, and then both times she got up on her own accord. If you look at the third quarter footage, she was pissed. She was pissed, and she kind of got up and immediately walked out. She got up and walked out. Like, she was not happy. And then went straight to the bench because she was getting cold. She got subbed off and probably was expecting to come back in 2 or 3 minutes. She was probably expecting to come in 2 or 3 minutes later, and she's fine then. She's fine, getting in a bit of rhythm. But she got subbed off. They planned to sub her off less than 2 minutes into the third and didn't put her on again until the fourth. And then Stephanie White pulls her from being on a bike, and immediately tells her go to the scorer's table, and then just goes, nah. Like, it's one of those things there where I'm like, this is the first time I've seen Caitlin Clark kind of speak out in any way against her coach. Speak out in any way against the roster publicly, because Caitlin's never going to say, she's never going to say anything wrong publicly. Well, 99% of the time, she's not going to say anything wrong publicly. This is as close as a teardown to the organizations you're ever going to get from Caitlin Clark. And there is no way she was happy about it. Is there a part of her, when it comes to minutes restriction, that probably thought, okay, yeah, minutes restriction is needed? But, like, she's not dumb. Like, she knows in yesterday's game that the plan to play her 2 minutes in the third quarter and then not put her on again, and then put her on for 3 minutes to start the fourth, where she hit a three-pointer to make it an 8-point game, and it's still a ball game. And then as soon as she hits a three-pointer and make it an 8-point game, Ty Harris subs in, which means that Kelsey Mitchell is not coming. Ty Harris subs in for Raven, which she would have been expecting Kelsey Mitchell in 2 minutes to sub in for Raven. But Ty Harris subbed in for Raven, therefore Kelsey Mitchell was coming in for her. It was an 8-point game to start the fourth quarter, and Stephanie White decided Caitlin was done for the night. I know they pulled away and it was 14 by then. But, like, Stephanie White decided Caitlin Clark was done for the night early in that fourth quarter, when it was still a ball game. Yes, they were down. Yes, this is a team that's incapable of making comebacks. But, like, for a normal team, they were still well in this game. But Stephanie White chose to shut her down. And not let her find that rhythm, and not trust that she could find that rhythm, especially when she just made a three. She had just made her shot. And yeah, look, it's going to be an interesting one. It's going to be an interesting one here to see what everything comes from this. Like, I still don't think that we see Caitlin Clark in Indiana Fever uniform in the 2027 season. I don't think that I don't think it's worth it for the Indiana Fever to get rid of Steph White and everyone. But there's no world. Like, it's sabotaging everyone. It is sabotaging everybody. Trying to go another season with Caitlin Clark and Stephanie White. It just is. So yeah, that is pretty much it, lads. That is the video. I'll see you guys.